Hello, and welcome to another Angry unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the Pak 41 Gerlich 75mm. The Pak 41 was entered into German service in, unsurprisingly, 1941. It was built by Krupp to compete with Rheinmetall's Pak 40 gun. It used the rather unique Squeezebore or Gerlich principle, which is essentially some fancy science stuff which made the shell squeeze through a smaller bore of the barrel, meaning that it would get higher velocity and penetrate more armor. It would see rather limited service in the German military throughout the war, with only 150 being produced. The reason being for this was that first, even though it had a rather high penetration capacity, it had a rather low range due to the fact that with the Squeezebore principle, it lost velocity pretty quickly. Secondly, and more importantly, is that the ammunition required tungsten. Germany didn't have a whole lot of tungsten, meaning that they couldn't produce a lot of ammunition for the Pak 41, and with the Pak 40 being more regular ammunition shells, they just went with that option instead. In-game, the Pak 41 is a 75.75mm anti-tank gun available exclusively to the Grossdeutschland division, and it has a singular weapon. And the gun itself is the Gerlich 75mm with 25 APCR shells. It has a rather mediocre penetration of 245mm, 10 rounds a minute, only 1 kilometer range, and 60% accuracy. It's a pretty powerful anti-tank gun in the penetration capacity. I'm fairly certain you can go through the majority of tanks in game with it, but, you know, it's better to hedge your bets. Pop down to the miscellaneous stats, it has a 7-man crew with good optics, very good stealth, and heavy cargo space. So in battle, the Pak 41 Gerlich is a rather unique and pretty niche weapon system. Its most common counterpart would be the Pak 36 with the steel granata ammunition, but instead of firing a, well, large rocket that you load on the muzzle, you're instead firing a pretty powerful Squeezebore round. And as I very clearly stated during the weapon overview of this video, this is a very powerful round, as you can pretty much penetrate every single tank in game with really no issues whatsoever. Whether it's IS-2s or a dreaded T-26 tank, they're going to blow up. However, there is quite a few caveats to this weapon system. The first one, the obvious one, being its rather limited range of only 1 kilometer, meaning that you do have to put it into some rather sneaky ambush positions to actually get a chance to shoot at enemy tanks. It's not going to be great in holding open fields, though you do have very good stealth, so you can hide it relatively easily. You also lack high explosive ammunition, so you have zero defense against enemy infantry, though to be fair, you're probably going to be buying this thing to mainly be knocking out heavy tanks and not wanting to give away your position until said heavy tank comes your direction. One of the major downsides is its rather low damage on penetration, only 4 damage, meaning it's going to take 2 to 3 shots if you don't get a lucky critical hit to blow up those annoying IS-2 tanks. Unfortunately, with its such high penetration capability, it's not like you're going to be bouncing any of those shots. In terms of availability, you get 3 of them in A phase, 5 in B phase, and 8 in C phase unvetted, and you only get 1 card of these available in the Grossdeutschland. Whether it's worth to take within the division is a pretty good question. You have a rather decent amount of anti-tank slots, but you could also just take a lot of Pak 40s or Marder 3s, which are a little bit more useful in the general purpose with their longer range, as well as high explosive ammunition. And with the Pak 40s, I mean, you also have APCR shots. Yes, they're not as powerful per se compared to the Pak 41, but you're pretty much going to be able to blow up the majority of armored targets nonetheless with that gun, and at a longer range. The Pak 41 really falls into this very weird niche role. It can be extremely useful because you will penetrate anything in the game, but it has a rather limited role, and with Grossdeutschland, it's not like you're really worrying in your anti-tank department. I mean, you got a crap ton of Tigers and Panthers in the tank tab already. So, I don't know, this is kind of more of a fun gimmicky weapon to use and anything that's really gonna make a major impact on the battlefield. Yo, I mean, if you do kill an IS-2, this thing is pretty damn satisfying. But yeah, that's the Pak 41 Gerlich. It's a mediocre anti-tank gun, and honestly I'm quite surprised they didn't try to mount this on some sort of vehicle, like with the British Little John adapter for their 2-pounder guns. And I'm going to leave it off at that. This has been another Rang Rouge Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.